Alright, so for this part of the video, we're going to kind of go a different way with it. All chapter, we've been focusing on slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b, right? Well, this video, we're going to do a whole different formula. We don't use it a lot, but sometimes we have to know how to do this. It's called writing linear equations in standard form, okay, rather than slope-intercept form. By now, you should be very comfortable with this. So now for standard form, here's what standard form is. It's a different formula. Alright, standard form is ax plus by equals c. Okay, so you'll notice there's still the x and the y in the equation. Alright, but these a, b, c's, these are all just numbers. Okay, now what's very important about standard form is there's a few rules. Okay, first rule is you can have no fractions in standard form. Okay, secondly, you'll notice the x and the y are on this side of the left side, so both x and the y have to be moved over here. Okay, the constant, which is like the c, is on the right side. The constant is the number that's not with an x or a y. Okay, and very important, the a cannot be negative, meaning this first number in front of the x. This number can't be negative. The b can be a negative or a minus, the c can be a negative or a minus. Only this one can't be. Alright, so let's kind of go through the process here. Okay, like with anything else, it gets easier when you do a little more practice. Alright, so this is in slope-intercept form. This is in y equals mx plus b, right? I can see here the slope's 2/3, the y-intercept is 4. Alright, but we're going to now turn this into slope standard form. Alright, so here's the easiest thing to do. Step 1. Clear the fractions, right? We see this fraction. Let's go ahead and get rid of the fractions first. Okay? And remember we talked about in chapter 2. It says clear the fraction by multiplying the numerators by the LCD. Just remember that's another fancy word for the bottom number. So just like before, we're going to multiply by the bottom number to get rid of the fraction. Okay? So that means I'm going to take this fraction of 2/3 and I'm going to multiply it by 3, right? But remember what we said, we got to multiply everything by 3. So I got to multiply this 4 by 3, and I got to go always to the other side and do this side, which is just the y times the 3. So when I do that, 3 times y is 3y. Now remember what's going to happen here? The reason why I do that, times 3 divided by 3, the 3's are gone. What's left here is 2x. And then 4 times 3 is positive 12. So step 1 is done. Got rid of the fractions. Okay? Now what does step 2 say? Get the x and the y on the left side of the equation. So look, the 3y is already over there. I need to move this whole piece over. So just like you've been doing, always do the opposite. How do I get rid of this 2x? By doing minus 2x on both sides. That's gone. Now look what this says. This is 3y minus 2x, right? And I can't do that. This is a y, this is an x. These are not like terms. I can't put them together. But I'm going to put them in a different order. Rather than write 3y minus 2x, remember how I want the ax to be first? So I'm going to put negative 2x because it is negative. And then this, remember, although it's not there, it means a positive 3y. So it's negative 2x plus 3y equals, all that's left here now is 12. Okay. Now this next step is usually done, but sometimes you got to do it again. But step 3 says get the constant term on the right side. Remember, the constant is the number that has no variable. This is by itself on the right side. So step 3 is already done. Sometimes you got to move it. Now step 4, this is where you got to make sure the a number is not negative. Remember, the a number is in front of the x. See how that's a negative 2? Well, I don't want that negative in front of the 2. The 2 is okay. So how do I get rid of a negative? I divide it by a negative, right? By negative 1. But remember, just like when I multiplied, I got to do every piece. When I divide, I've got to now divide everything. So I'm going to divide this by negative 1 and this by negative 1 on the other side. So negative divided by negative is now positive 2x. Positive 3y divided by negative 1 is now negative 3y equals 12 divided by negative 1, negative 12. And we are finally done. This is now in standard form. Ax plus by equals c, no fractions. X and y on this side. The a is not negative, right? Remember, this can be negative, this can be negative. Just the a can't be negative. All right, and that's pretty much it for standard form. So let's do some practice together, because all of these are going to look a little different at first, okay? But we're going to go through all the steps together, okay? So I'll be going back and forth a lot here. Step 1, clear the fraction. So look at number 1 here. I have no fractions, right? So good for us. We don't have to do that. Skip it. Step 2 says get the x and y on the left side. So here I'm going to have to move this over. Opposite of negative 5x is plus 5x. Okay, this is gone. Now I'm going to write the x first. Positive 5x, that means plus 3y, equals, all that's left here is 8. Step 3, get the constant on the right side by itself, already done. Step 4, make sure the a is not negative. It's not. No, that was pretty easy. That one only took one step. It's now done. Some take more work than others, right? That was it. Okay, let's try this next one here. Y equals 7x plus 3. Step 1, clear the fractions, right? No fractions to clear. Step 2, get the x and the y on the left side. So I'm going to have to move this 7x over by doing minus 7x. Now, because I wanted ax plus by, I'm going to put the x first. Negative 7x. That's a positive y. I can't put those together. They're not like terms. Step 3, get the constant on the right side. That's the number by itself. It's there. Step 4, make sure the a is not negative. Ooh, look at the front number. That's a negative. I don't want it negative, so we divide it by negative 1. But divide everything by negative 1. So now it just changes the signs. Negative 7 divided by negative 1 is positive 7x. Positive y divided by negative 1 is negative 1y. Equals 3 divided by negative 1, negative 3. That's now in standard form. Okay? Alright, let's try number 3. 4x minus y minus 7 equals 0. Remember, step 1 is get rid of the fractions. No fractions. Step 2, move the x and the y to the left side. Oh, this one's easy. It's already on the left side, right? Now this is the step 3 we never had to do. Now we have to do it. Get the constant on the right side. The constant is the number by itself. So I need to move this to the other side. I always move by doing the opposite. So opposite of minus 7 is plus 7. So what's left here is 4x minus y equals 7. So now the constant's by itself over here. Now step 4, make sure the a is not negative. Now it's a positive 4. That one's already done. Okay. Step 4, y equals 3x minus 8. Step 1, clear the fractions. There are no fractions. Step 2, get the x and y on the left side. So I need to move this over. To move 3x, I do minus 3x. So that gives me negative 3x plus y equals negative 8. Step 3 is move the constant to the right side. Well, this is already by itself over here. Step 4, make sure the a is not negative. A is negative, it's negative 3. So we divide that by negative 1 and then divide everything by negative 1. Negative divided by negative, positive 3x. Positive 1y divided by negative 1 is negative 1y. Equals negative 8 divided by negative 1, positive 8. And there we have it. So all of these have been turned into standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. So just remember, the a is the number that's being multiplied with the x, the b is the number being multiplied with the y, the c is the number by itself. Alright, Let's do a few more here. Alright, on the next page, so now, oh, here comes those fractions back. Okay, so that's step one, clear the fractions, right? So how am I going to get rid of this 1/3? Remember, it's always multiplying by the bottom. So opposite of divide by 3 is times by 3. So I'm going to times this by 3. I'm going to times every piece by 3, and don't forget always the other side as well. 3 times y is 3y. These are gone. What's left is just 1x minus 12. Right? Now step 2, remember I want my x and y over here. So to move this 1x, I'm going to do minus 1x. Always do it on both sides. I'm going to put the x first. Negative 1x plus 3y equals negative 12. Step 3, get your constant by itself over here, which it is. Step 4, make sure the a is not negative. My a is a negative 1. Get rid of that negative by dividing by negative 1. And divide everything by negative 1. So negative 1 divided by negative 1 is now a positive 1x. Positive 3 divided by negative 1 is negative 3y. Equals negative 12 divided by negative 1, positive 12. And that is known in standard form. Okay? Alright, last one like this. Y equals negative 3/4 x plus 5/4. I got two fractions. That's all good. How do I get rid of the fraction? I'm going to times it by 4. And you'll notice both fractions have 4 in the bottom, right? So it'll all cancel out. So I'm going to times this fraction by 4. I'm going to times this fraction by 4. And I always times the other side too. So here's what's going to happen. 4 times y is 4y. The 4's cancel. Look what's left carefully. Negative 3x. Look what's left here. Just the plus 5. So look, we've canceled out both fractions. That looks way better. Step 2, get your x and y on the other side. So I need to move this negative 3x. Opposite is positive or plus 3x. I'm going to put the x first. So positive 3x plus 4y equals 5. Constants by itself. A is positive, it's not negative. So I'm done. Just like that. Okay? Alright, now these last two is kind of bringing a lot of the chapter together. Okay? So we still want to write these in standard form. But I can't get to standard form yet. So hopefully these look familiar to you. What I can do with these first is write them in